Guys, this is absolutely insane. You're seeing the consequences of left-wing policies being enforced, being administered to the type of people that are possessed by the radical Marxist ideology enough to cause this. There is a video, which I can't show on YouTube, of this woman and her boyfriend walking down the streets of New York at night, and the boyfriend gets attacked by a deranged scholar with a knife. He gets stabbed to death and bleeds out on the sidewalk, but it devolves into something way more crazy. This guy that got stabbed as a result of the complete lawless state, the anti-law and order, anti-justice state of New York, where they're just letting people out of prisons, they're not enforcing the law. People get picked up by the NYPD, and then they just get released because their judges don't want to enforce the law. And I'm gonna explain to you why that is. Radical Marxism is opposed to all mechanisms of objective frameworks, which include justice and the law and morality. That's the reason why Marxists believe in moral relativism. It's utter mind rot. The leftist position is defined by mind rot on every level of analysis. They don't believe in morality, they hate objective frameworks, so then that means they hate truth, which means they also can't discover what truth is. They don't even believe in the individual, they believe in group identity, so it's completely destroyed. But this guy that was stabbed to death, this guy that was the victim of the scholar, was a radical left-wing activist and self-described member of Antifa. Guys, we are witnessing these people suffering the consequences of their deranged lunacy. And it gets crazier. Here's a picture of his girlfriend that he was with posing next to a license plate with Karl Marx on it. Guys, Karl Marx wrote the Communist Manifesto that killed more than 60 million people. Communism killed more than 60 million people. Imagine someone posing, that's more people than Hitler killed. Imagine someone posing next to a license plate that says Hitler. Like these people are insane. That's how crazy these people are, but it gets worse than that. She's wearing an ACAB shirt. She's photographed wearing an ACAB shirt, and this is where it gets insane, where you can really witness their evil. She refused to give statements to the police about the killer, because ACAB, right? We know what that stands for. All cops are. Their brains are so broken. This is the kicker that got me to record this video, because obviously, you know, the left gets owned by reality all the time. They basically live in a perpetual loop of suffering from irony because their ideas are so incoherent. But this is why it's so disturbing. She wouldn't give a statement to police about the killer when she watched him kill her boyfriend. Her ideological possession is so strong and so reprehensible that she wouldn't want to see order and justice carried out even when she witnessed her boyfriend getting murdered in front of her. That's how deranged these lunatics are, and we see why, right? Like, she's a self-admitted Marxist and wearing a shirt that says ACAB, so she's completely deranged. But think how little she cares about all human lives. God, but then, if she wouldn't even want to see justice and order carried out against the murderer who murdered her boyfriend in front of her, stabbed him to death. This is how deranged and ruined these Marxists are. This is a window. This is a actually very, very rare window where we get to see proven in front of us, displayed, how little the radical leftists care about human lives. If this is how atrocities happened in the 1940s. If there was a genocide against people that the radical left hates, they wouldn't bat an eye because they don't see your life as valuable. She doesn't even see her boyfriend's life as valuable enough to exact order and justice. So then how little must she care about your life? These leftists their brains have been destroyed. There's no humanity there. They hate humanity because they're postmodern neo-Marxists, which means they detest all objective frameworks, including morality, including justice, including making sense. That's why they're all morally relativistic. That's why they say there's no such thing as right and wrong. That's why they say there's no such thing as objective truth or objective morality, because then they would be beholden to that standard. But they don't want to be beholden to anything other than their ideology, which says you're a good person. You get virtue as a result of being a victim. You get to be a good person as a result of saying, I'm a part of this oppressed group, whether it be sexual identity, sexual proclivity, you know, race. Take your pick of the leftist clubs of oppression. That's the only arbiter of morality that's the only arbiter of virtue that they want. Because they're destroyed. These people are destroyed. Guys, this is insane. You're looking right now. This is what a person looks like who doesn't care about human lives. Are you paying attention? Look closely. This is worse than an SS officer. This license plate is praising someone who killed more people than Hitler. This person who lives in New York, and there are thousands, tens of thousands of radically insane lunatics just like her in New York, in these blue cities, that care so little about human life, they wouldn't even want to see justice done when their boyfriend is murdered in front of them because the attacker was black, because the attacker is an oppressed group in Marxism. And you know she's a Marxist because she's posing next to a sign that says she's a Marxist, bro. And dude, imagine if she was posing next to a license plate that said Hitler on it. Marx killed more people than Hitler because he wrote the Communist Manifesto. 60 million corpses. But see, leftists don't care about all lives. We already knew they didn't care about lives, but this is just an admission. This is proof. She wouldn't give the police information about the killer. That's mind-boggling. That's totally mind-boggling. Look at this. Look at this. This is a picture of a very, very interesting thing. A couple destroyed. A group of people that should be studied medically in science, but also analyzed in history as what could be possible in a moment as antithetical to coherence as possible. This guy was a self-professed member of Antifa. He was a radical leftist activist. And you can read my comment here that I left. And by the way, guys, go follow my Twitter because I'm shadow banned. You know, big surprise. I've been shadow banned since before Elon Musk bought the platform. Everything hasn't been worked out yet. So like my comments. Maybe I'll get out of shadow ban jail. This beta male leftist did not deserve to die at the hands of this far leftist degenerate ideology, which is what that attacker is. He's a result of leftist degenerate ideology. But this is what will happen when you refuse to use logic or intellectual coherence to vet ideas. The only thing left to educate you are the consequences of their broken ideology. Unfortunately, learning from consequences is costly and burns human resources like crazy. You should understand this, because when you reject your ability to make sense of ideas, reason, logic, rationality, etc., like the radical leftists do, and really like any person who adopts immense resentment, Marxism is driven on resentment, so it's no surprise that the leftists are driven by resentment. Because when you go far left enough, you hit Marx, you hit socialism, you hit communism. There are derivations of Marx. When you suffer from the left-wing mind virus, you're no longer able to think rationally, and so you can only learn from insane events like this. You can only really learn from the pain that reality enforces when it crashes into you as a wave because you couldn't prepare for it, because you couldn't see it coming, because you insisted that everything's socially constructed and there's no such thing as truth. I give a good analogy here. I liken it to an illogical father who for years won't talk to his sons because he can't admit he's wrong. He's therefore brutally educated by the passing of time that he will not get back because he's rejected his mind's ability to bridge the gap between whatever he was wrong about, and he can't help but face this brutal education because he won't move from his coherence. That's what these leftists are essentially enduring. They are enduring the consequences of reality, which are far more brutal than letting your ideas die instead of you. It was a famous thinker that once said, the reason we think is so that our ideas, our thoughts can die instead of us. When you're a radical leftist, you actually technically can't think because you can't engage in vetting ideas based on a meritocracy or on any type of organizational hierarchy that's predicated on coherence. And that's pretty much what thinking is. And you can't do that for a number of reasons. One reason is that the I doesn't exist, the individual identity doesn't exist in Marxism. Another reason is that coherence doesn't exist because it is a construction of the patriarchy and white supremacy used to oppress and prey on the victims of intersectionalism. And because even in the act of thinking is the presupposition that an answer exists to be found, and postmodernism, especially when combined with Marxism, insists that there is no such thing as objective truth because everything is constructed and up to interpretation, which of course is not true because some interpretations are much more applicable to objective reality than others. So the leftists aren't able to think, and as a result, they end up being brutally mocked across the internet in situations like this, where they, witness their boyfriend getting murdered and don't want justice done because they wear shirts saying ACAB. It's brutal. And like I said in the comment, this person did not deserve to meet the fate that they did. But leftists are going to only be educated by instances like this if they refuse to think, if they refuse to engage with logic or rationality. And what's nuts to me is we're like 14 months away out from this next election. So things are just going to get more insane and degenerate. I'm fully expecting leftists to invert every aspect of reality that they can possibly find. And there are many reasons for that. One is that because objective reality judges them, and another is that they are constantly infuriated by the fact that reality reminds them that they're wrong. Even in this instance, I can guarantee you that this woman doesn't even feel pity or sadness that her boyfriend was killed. She feels outraged that the internet is laughing at her for being wrong. That's where her focus is, because these people are driven by resentment. The world is laughing at her that she's wearing a shirt that says ACAB and her boyfriend just got murdered and she won't talk to the police. And not just murdered in front of her. And the guy that got murdered was a far leftist activist, and he was murdered by a person that should be in jail because a radical leftist judge let him out of jail. Because black people are oppressed, right? So obviously the world is laughing at her, or I should say a lot of the world. Many leftists are losing their mind and saying very reprehensible things, but these people that look like this, they're not thinking. They can't engage with objective morality. They're not like me or you. When you walk past them on the street, they're dangerous because they don't care about human life, and she proved it to you. She proved to you that she doesn't even care about her boyfriend's life. How little do you think she cares about your life if she doesn't care about her boyfriend's life? And that's what I want you to take away from this video. These people are lunatics. They are crazy, and we need to spread the word that they're crazy. We have to psychologically divorce ourselves from these insane people that are possessed by Marxist resentment. Marxist resentment is the most dangerous invention that humans have ever created. It has stacked up more corpses than any other ideology in the history of the planet. And it's objective. You know, if you read history, it's there. And what's more, just to wrap this up, is that these insane people that don't care about human life, even their boyfriend's life, much less your life, these people that don't even care about human life, call themselves the good guys. They say that they're on the right side of history. They act as though they're better than you because their ideology commands them to do that. Because their ideology tells them, because you adhere to this ideology, you're by default a good person, because they've perverted true virtue. They can't vet ideas, because the way you actually are, you know, a good person is by the content of your character, by how moral your ideas are. And how do you determine if an idea is moral or not? You vet it for its coherence. But remember, Marxism doesn't allow for coherence. It doesn't allow for meritocracy. It doesn't allow for coherent vetting of any kind. So the only thing that allows them to dole out virtue and status is adherence to the ideology. So a person like this doesn't care about human life and calls himself a good person at the same time. Leftists aren't insane, guys. Subscribe to the channel, because we're on a mission here. Humanity's not going to die. Humanity's not going to be wiped out or suffer the oblivion, the endlessly dark evil that is Marxism. It's been proven a scourge. And the world's going to know that these people are frauds, that these people are moral frauds. Guys, subscribe to the channel.